Hi everyone. I don't have any musical intro or anything fancy. I am here with Miss Fancy herself, Miss Lotus Justice. Welcome to the portal to justice. It is December 30th. Hello, Miss Beautiful. Welcome to the portal to justice. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on. Ask me on. You sound real sexy with that little cold jab there. It's working for you.
I do.
I think it's a good. And I wanted to add, the 2 cents of the law to it, so that people understand where we're at in our government when it comes to the American people subsidizing pedophilia with our full faith and credit through the judiciary of the United States, which is what we're getting ready to do, isn't it, Amelia?
Yeah, it's incredible. I had posted, I did a little bit of research, and I posted, about Tom Sizemore, who is an actor in Los Angeles, who is coming out with a new movie in 2018. Let me put this up here and possibly so you can see me. I'm going to try to get it so I'm on camera.
Oh, that's okay.
Anyways, so, I posted this, and one of my dear friends, God bless him, I love him, and he can do no wrong. However, I'm frustrated because he said it was not news, and I'm like, oh, this is not news. The fact that an actor assaulted a 10-year-old at LA.
Why would that not be non-news? Because is he trying to minimalize
I don't know. And LA passed as Senate Bill 273, and there's no offense to him because
we're not supposed to be.
Wait. Okay. In all defense of him, he probably doesn't know about the Senate bill passing pedophilia and marriage to minors.
Right.
However,
it just came at the same time in your world.
In my world, yeah. In the portal to justice, we're like, holy cow, Ms. Lotus Justice, we need you right now. Come on.
Well, here's what's happening here, what I think politically is happening, that I think that, again, we're trying to talk about how in the near future they're going to start disclosing things on both sides of the bar. And what they're wanting Californians to get used to seeing is men fondling 10-year-olds in public, okay? Because the Muslim men may hide it in their homes at this point in time, but if they try to make this legal, you're going to start seeing, they're going to try to bring their little sex toys out of the houses in all the pedophile households of Hollywood and try to make you look like it's okay. Like we're supposed to think it's okay for men to molest children openly in public. We're not going to even be going around asking for licenses of marriages, are we? I mean, so you're just supposed to get used to seeing a man molest up to a 10-year-old, and I don't know about you, but I have trouble discerning the ages of children, but they're just trying to normalize pedophilia in the public eye. But there's a bigger point to that. The bigger point to this is that if they are saying that it's that it is okay statutorily to allow a child, we'll go over how that's not even allowed in law. But I'm going to talk about the actual commercial aspect of the corporate government that we have and the corporate judiciary, which are just banks that we have. What these forums do is they suretize by acts and instruments under the signature and seal of the United States financial instruments and bonds within the judiciary that create treasury notes and also are affirmed through licensures and statutes and stuff. So what they're saying is that we are going to ensure, with the full faith and credit of the American people, the issuance of the ability of men to marry children in California. So I just want everyone to understand that the acts of the legislature, when affected through the judiciary, or in state issuance of licensures, create assets on the offsets and adjustment ledgers of our Federal Reserve System that is backed by our full faith and credit and the gold of 140 some odd countries, that we are in agreement and will issue credit into our treasury and into our commercial instruments by the issuance of allowing men to purchase Okay, because they're too young to make contracts legally, people. These are children that can't even sign a contract under law. Okay? So these children are basically being now allowed by the state of California to be conveyed as property, because a 10-year-old, it can be taken into custody by the state under CPS rules and is not given or allowed emancipation, yet they're allowing them to be married into the emancipation of a matrimonial contract. So you have to understand the commercial aspect that the state of California has legislated child trafficking, the issuance of bonds and state-sanctioned commercial instruments through our United States Corporation, transferring utilities issued to each state, which are then allowed access to international banking platforms. Because of that, they have now made it so the state of California is the import-export capital of legalized child trafficking, backed by the full faith and credit of the American people. That is what is happening commercially if this statute is allowed to continue its disgusting path. Okay? Under the law of equity, okay, you have to remember, 10-year-olds can't go buy a car, can they? Well, no. Why? It's against the law, because they're a minor, and it's against the law to engage minors in contract. Marriage is a contract, folks. Marriage is a contract. This is, on the surface, a constructive fraud. The law of equity, it is against the law to engage infant, insane, or the infirmed in commercial contracts. Marriage is a commercial contract. They're basically creating child brooding houses. Okay, you're taking children that then to impregnate, that then when they have the children by their soul, like they are impregnated as slaves. You're creating a slave nation, people.
Though, Lotus, can I interject here?
Yes, please.
Because it's SB Senate Bill 2273 that we're talking about, and with all due respect, Hollywood has been implementing these child labor laws and bills since the inception of
Hollywood.
Yeah. So
we have let what we're finding out, folks, is we have let the pedophile, an industry driven by pedophilia, as we're getting to find out, write child labor laws when a child can labor. Okay, and I want to take an offshoot on the word labor. There's a reason why women are told to be giving labor when you give childbirth. They changed to labor. That's what the legal physician titles of nobility, doctor, has described your work as labor. Because, see, when they issue the bond against your child, the bond issuance is your payment for the labor. Now, let's think about this, guys. It's a well-established fact in all law and legal commerce that slavery, labor against one's consent, is slavery. Did you know that when you were giving labor to your son, in the words of a doctor, that when he issued you the certificate of live birth, that you were actually trading the value of your child and his flesh to the state for a note, a promise to pay on a susticate trust backed by gold? By us too, by the way. I mean, this is very convoluted in that you have created an import state of slavery from children, sex slavery. And let's think about this. Trump, in his first executive order,
wait a second.
Barred the. Okay, no, this is important about when it comes to this, because this would apply.
I know.
Oh no, that's okay. This is another side note, because you're also making California a place where if Trump doesn't impose. You have to think about this. The first act of Trump.
I also want to interject that I want to imply that California is the only state that allows minor marriage, because that.
Well, okay, this isn't minor. I wouldn't call this minors.
Well,
Minors to me are
to marry a minor. There's other states where you can marry a minor.
Right, but a minor is defined as usually as 1 or 2 years. I think for police, it's within 3 years of a legal limit. So,
they're saying 10 years old. So I just want to say, we're outraged. However, in the United States, folks, there are other states where you can marry a minor. I'm not and I don't want to make light of this. However, I do want to say that we should be outraged in general regarding,
right. Well, we should be outraged by the fact that that the state feels that it can just convey children left and right.
It can just let the bar. No, it's not the state, Lotus. It's not the state. It's the freaking bar that's legislating these laws.
Right, but I got that. But in legal and lawful standards, the bar unions of each state are the corporate state of. The state of California is a corporate charter issued into the control of the bar union of the state of California, who got its. And they are controlling the assets, the estates and chattels of the Republic Territory, California. Your judiciary is run. So the same union that makes your legislative statutes and runs your executive branch and your judiciary has just told the people who live in the Republic State, California, that we are going to allow infants, the insane and the infirm, people who are not allowed under the law of equity to affect or give, they are not allowed in the law to consent to contracts. The law, not at statute, the law says this. The infant law is a shield to 3 classes of people. Real life flesh persons, not this fake stuff, not the fictions of corporation. There are 3 classes of people that the purpose of law is to shield these classes of people. The infant, the insane, and the infirm. Mm-hmm. The infant, the insane, and the infirm are not allowed under the law of equity to be deemed able to give consent in contracts.
I'll be right back, Lotus.
To attempt to affect or to overlay or oppress a contract upon those 3 classes of people is deemed to be a constructive fraud. It's a fraud if you do it, but it's constructive fraud, meaning gross negligence, including punitive damages, if it's done and you know that that person is an infant or insane or infirm or under the legal age, the lawful age, the age of consent, which is deemed necessary to affect contracts with consent. These 10-year-olds cannot affect commercial contracts with consent pursuant to the UCC or any other form of commercial law. Yet they are being conveyed in commercially insured actions by every time the state of California issues a license. If they cannot by law that exists on the books affect and consent to a commercial contract, how are they able to consent to the commercial contract of marriage? So that is the problem here, folks. They are clearly showing you that these children are being conveyed as property. These are children. So the state of California has now legalized unlawfully the ability to convey children as young as 10 as property.
So what do we need to do as citizens, and what would your advice be?
You need to call the military. That's what you need to do.
We are. But here's the thing, and look, I'm all for a military tribunal. And you know this. I've been saying this. I've been saying this since the get-go. However, as citizens, call. What do we need to do? And if you're a bar licensor, okay, let's just say. I know your feelings towards the bar. But if you're a bar licensed attorney, and I do have friends that are bar licensed attorneys that have good intentions. What would be your advice?
My advice would be to immediately apply. First off, I want to say that people aren't upset because they don't understand what these things mean in the law and in commerce and how our money is backing our money, the American people's money, and our faith. They're saying that our faith, we are a Christian nation who we have a judiciary, the Bar Union of California, who is the corporate judiciary, California, is saying that we, as a Christian nation, believe that children as young as 10 should be able to be married to 70-year-old men. That is not our faith. I will not bond. I will not insure those acts. That is a simple declaration.
However, this is very popular in Los Angeles in California.
I don't care where it's popular. Our faith will not back it. We will not suretize it. If they think
when you
that they
say,
can find,
okay, when Lotus, calm down. Because when you say
right,
faith,
but if they think they could find, but here's why people don't understand.
Lotus, calm down. When you say faith, please articulate to the listeners what that means, because to the listeners, they're not understanding the
faith.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So everybody understands that the Federal Reserve is a repository trust system that was started with gold. But at a certain point in time, there wasn't enough gold, as declared by Nixon, in the repository trust, real material capital, to pay for all the issuance of all the notes out, which means that, hey guys, we've run out of the good stuff, the real stuff, and now we're operating strictly on faith. When Nixon declared that we were no longer on the gold standard, every note after that issuance meant it was upon the faith of the American people that our government was going to operate in the law, and it would operate commercially sound within the laws, because our laws are very specific, and that there would be no corruption and fraud going on. So ever since the Nixon scare, the only reason the whole rest of the world has agreed to accept our dollar for the value that it has and to allow it to be exchanged for a real material asset. So it's called the petrodollar, because our dollar is the unit of currency, the only unit of currency accepted for oil. So if you want to go buy oil, you have to come to the oil cartel in dollars. I don't care if you're Russia. If you're Russia, you have to go exchange your monetary unit into dollars and buy the petrol with the dollar. So we basically issued a note for every unit of oil that's ever been created since it became the petrodollar. After Nixon declared the gold standard void, the only reason people have continued to use the Federal Reserve note system, because it no longer had enough gold issued to pay for, upon demand, all the issuance of all the stock, the notes out there. The only reason people did it is because they believe that America is a nation of law, guys, of law, that we followed the law. So we have been backing every issuance of every note, which is a promise to pay, on our faith. Now, if you all believe that our faith, because we are a Christian nation, that is the faith they are talking about. That is the fourth crown common law.
shit, they cut us off. Lotus. Lotus.
When did they cut us off?
Oh, shit. Are we
Do we
still
know how long
online? Anybody there? Anybody tuning in? I don't even know if we're online anymore. It's not even registering. I got so angry. I'm sorry. I am seriously challenged by the fact that.
Well, start a new show.
Okay.
Just in case we got shut off.
All right,
Say,
let's.
hey,
all right,
we're
I'll call you.
guys.
I'll
We don't
call
know
you.
if we're
I'll
still
call you right
cut
back.
off.
Okay.
I'll call right